Now I would like to demonstrate how to install NGINX. Now I am using an Ubuntu distribution here, but if you're using something like Debian, CentOS, or Red Hat, these steps should more or less be the same. Instead of using apt, you're probably going to use yum. That's for CentOS and Red Hat. Now we're using Ubuntu here, so I'm going to stick with the apt update and apt install. The first thing we want to do here is run sudo apt update. And what this is going to do is it's going to update the package sources list with the latest versions of the packages in the repositories. Now, I do want to add the -y, and this will skip the prompt for yes or no. And it's going to pull all the latest changes. And this is useful because if you want to install a package, you want to install the latest version. And by running apt update, you are ensuring that you're going to install the latest available version. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen here. And now I want to install NGINX. So we're going to do sudo apt install NGINX. And I'm not going to pass the -y just so you can see what happens. And of course, I'm immediately prompted for a yes or no to continue. I'm going to say yes. And you can see that it's installing a lot of dependencies, a lot of packages. This is perfectly normal. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen again. And now that we've installed NGINX, we need to verify if the service is running. And we can do so by using systemd. So we're going to do sudo systemctl status NGINX. And we can see here that it's inactive, it's dead, so we need to start it. We can do so by rerunning the same command above, but instead of running status, we're going to do start. You could also pass in stop if you wanted to stop NGINX. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. And now I'm going to rerun the status command to see if it's running now. And here you go. There's a lot of information here. Don't worry about that. What we really want to focus on here is the active running. And it's running. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen again. Now that we know that the NGINX service is running, we need to confirm if NGINX is responding. And we could do so by using the curl command. This CLI tool is useful to test web servers, API endpoints, and we can interact with it. So we're going to use curl localhost. Localhost here is the system that we're on. This Alpine host is the local host. So it's going to make an HTTP request against the system. And if there's a web server behind, we should get a response. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And you get the default welcome to NGINX page that's included in all of the NGINX installations. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Now we know that the NGINX service is running, and we know that NGINX is responding as it should. Now I want to head over to the etc NGINX folder. Across all distributions, the etc folder is always used for system configuration files, so you can be sure you can find the NGINX configuration files in here. Now I'm going to list the files here. There's a lot of information in here. We're going to go over some of this, but don't worry about all of this for now. What I do want to focus on here is the nginx.conf file. This is the global settings. So I'm going to go ahead and open this file. We went over some of these things on module 1. Don't worry about it. We're going to get into more detail as the course proceeds, of course. You can see here we have the HTTP block, which is the global settings. If we hover a bit down here, you can see the login settings. Now, this is where, if logging is enabled, this is where by default it's going to write the logs to. So var log the NGINX folder, and you'll have an access or an error log. If we continue going down, we could see here the virtual host configurations. This include here is very important because this is what NGINX will use to read any configuration files it needs to. You can see here that we're saying include etc nginx conf.d. So everything in this folder and anything that ends with the extension .conf. This star here, this is the wildcard. Basically, it means anything .conf, and it will read that file. We can also see the second part of this is to include anything under the sites enabled. Now notice that the sites enabled doesn't have the extension.conf. That means that it will read any configuration here. So it's very important that we verify that the syntax is correct and that our configuration files look good before we try to reload NGINX. If you continue going down, you could see some examples here of the server blocks that we talked about. I personally don't put server blocks for any websites inside the nginx.conf file. I save those for the sites enabled, sites available. You could put them in here, but best practices is that you make a single configuration for each of the websites you plan to host on this server. So I'm going to go ahead and quit here because I'm not going to make any changes. And I will show you where that var log nginx folder is right here. And if you want LL here, you can see that we already have the access log and the error log. It has nothing right now written to it. So we just installed it, so there's nothing in here. But as you configure your websites, you will see the logs in here. Now there might be a directory under here based on the name of your website, for example. And then inside of that folder, you would have the access and error log if you enabled it. But we're going to go over that in the next module, which we're going to be setting up 2 websites so we can hit and we can test how to configure the virtual hosts. That's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.